Hi.
Hello.
So tell me, what was the first idea? When did it appear in your mind that you wanna move somewhere where you used to live before?
So I worked for a long time in a not so fun job, and a lot of friends were doing some cool stuff, and I thought I could do that too. So that's when the idea started, when a couple of my friends moved to Spain before me, and I basically joined them.
Nice. But was it very quick? Like how long in terms of time, weeks, months was it from the first idea that popped up in your mind that you need to change the environment where you live in and relocate somewhere? Like how long did it take you from the idea to actually making it reality and taking all your stuff and moving somewhere else?
It was probably a bit over a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my friends that moved here before me, two of them, they started talking about going here and they tried to get me to go with them. And I wasn't too ready, I wasn't too excited about this idea at the time. But after a while I realized this sounds fun. So it kind of grew over that year.
What were your main concerns when you starting analyzing where to move? Like what will you need? What was the main factors that were kind of pushing you back and stopping you from actually doing it?
So I think the main pressure point would be I have to quit work. I have to quit my job because I'm coming here to study. And it's a very stable job, nice job.
So it gives you financial stability at some point?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not financial because in Sweden we have the Swedish student loan.
Okay.
So you have financial stability as a person from Sweden starting to study abroad and in Sweden.
Yeah, that's good that you have this financial support from the government, because considering that moving somewhere to a different culture, even if you have friends here who are waiting for you, that's a very, it's already a very stressful event, very stressful period of your life. So at least when financial part is covered, that's better.
In Sweden we're very privileged to have this, and I noticed it more and more since I started in school. So many people from so many nationalities has to struggle in a different way, and it lowers the barrier of entry to do something like this, because I couldn't afford this if I didn't have the Swedish student loan. So I'm very, very happy to have that possibility. But the thing is, before even thinking about studying, it wasn't like this big, huge thing for me, the Swedish student loan. It's called CSN. I didn't think about it. I knew it was there, but it wasn't this great thing in my mind that it is.
Because you never really thought of using it or even, taking this opportunity.
Yeah.
That's good. And talking about the support, how did your family and friends, people who used to see you so often because you used to live in the same town, how did they take that you're going to be moving somewhere abroad and starting your life here right now?
So two of my friends moved before me.
Yeah.
So I had a social circle even before I came here, which was very nice.
You're very fortunate to have it, because many people
but
have
my family, some of them were super for it, some of them were hesitant. It's a big step to move to a different country. But I feel like I got a lot of support from my family and friends, and amazing colleagues and co-workers, and my previous bosses were super. They wanted me to expand myself and see new things and learn new things. So I feel like it wasn't really hard to push through some sort of resistance. I didn't have that, I can't say.
When you were already considering the options how to move here, did you know from the very beginning that's for sure going to be Barcelona, or you maybe were considering some other options?
Only Barcelona.
because your friends moved here before, but
Yeah.
if, for example, you would, I don't know, analyze the other student opportunities and career later on, you didn't really want to, try Madrid, it's the capital of Spain, or any other European cities.
I mean, Barcelona is a very fun city. It's a young city. If you compare it to Madrid, Madrid's more corporate. You have probably better options for work in Madrid than Barcelona. But Barcelona is an amazing city, and I do not regret coming here. But I honestly didn't do much research. I went off of my friend's recommendation, and they being here made it like the only option for me, basically.
How did you imagine life in here? You for sure thought that it's going to be very different from your previous hometown, and like, what did you think of an idea living here? How would you describe your expectations versus reality? What was different, let's say?
I mean, I kind of purposefully went into it a bit blind because the idea of like an adventure seemed very fitting and needed for me in that time when I moved here for the first time. So I went into it not knowing anything. I didn't look up the food here or anything like that. Couple of months before I moved here, I came here to visit for a week. So I got some sort of taste of it, and it was just solid. I made the right decision, I knew, after the first couple of days.
Have you been here before, like many times, or
No.
it was only one time you came here to visit friends for a week, and then you just decided that's the city I want to move to?
Yeah.
That's very crazy and very brave of you as well. Very courageous to just take the decision. It's straightforward, and it's not an easy decision to pack up most of your life and just move somewhere abroad, new culture, new language. And I assume you're still learning your Spanish. You don't really speak fluently. How did that? How is that like comfortable for you? Are you comfortable here with the locals? Have you ever felt any pressure that you don't speak the language fluently? And are you okay? Are you like well living here and communicating with Spaniards?
I mean, in school, we are 97 nationalities, so English is the spoken language. My classes is in English, and you can survive with only English here in Barcelona. But it's preferred if you know the language, it can be a bit tricky in some places.
Yeah.
I don't know good Spanish now, like I know a couple of words. But I still survive, even if I knew 0 words. But I would for sure want to learn the language, because if I'm here in Spain, I might as well take the situation, the opportunity to actually learn the language.
And to practice it with many
locals.
people here.
Yeah.
And that's nice. What was your biggest fear moving here? Not the language barrier, that no one would understand you, and for sure not that you would not find friends because you already had some group of people living here. But what was your biggest, something that you were afraid of moving here?
I mean, it was scary quitting my job. I worked for almost a decade in the same industry. I felt sometimes like I might be a bit too old to do something like this. But then again, in Sweden, it's very common for people in their late 20s, early 30s, even maybe late 30s to start studying in a university. Whereas in other countries, I know people go directly from high school straight into university. And if you don't do that, you might as well not go to university, is kind of the mentality, what I've seen. So it wasn't too bad, like it wasn't too scary, it wasn't too frightening to take this step. But at the same time, it's very scary to quit a stable job, change your whole life from something to something new,
It's very interesting. Yeah, like talking about going to the university straight after school, it's very different from like Spain and the country where I'm from, Russia. It's very different from Sweden, because in these countries, usual that most of the teenagers go to the university straight after the school. Or sometimes they might take one gap year, work like some low-paid jobs, and then decide what they actually want to study and then apply to the university. But usually people who graduate from high school, it usually takes them around a year max to figure out what they really want to study and apply. And this is, we're talking about majority. Obviously, there are some exceptions, but I would say here, it's, if we're talking about percentages, maybe 65 people of who I know, they went straight to the university after high school, and some others took gap year. So in Sweden, I can tell that's very different, and that's the opposite. Minority only goes to the university straight after school.
Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that I didn't start earlier, because when I was 21, 22, 23, I did not know what I was going to do. So I'm very happy I had a nice, fulfilling job to pass the time until I figured out what I wanted to do. So I would recommend not starting studying straight out of high school, because I didn't know what I wanted to do then. I imagine many people struggle with the same thing, you know. So that's my honest, sincere recommendation. Know what you want to do before you start studying.
If you could look back right now and analyze and consider all your life experience that you have right now, would you perhaps want to move here earlier if the opportunity was given to you?
That's a good question. Maybe, but probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
You would want to leave everything as it is.
Yeah, I mean, if I went here earlier, I might have spent my time instead of studying or doing something productive. I would have just gone out partying as I did in Sweden. Yeah, no, I wouldn't change it.
Okay. When you moved here, do you remember your first day, week, month? Did you count this sort of milestones that, hey, I've lived in another country for a day, for a week, for a month, and this had happened during this time? Do you remember these flashbacks?
Not really the days, but I've had a couple of apartments. And I kind of segment my stay here in which apartment I lived at the time.
Okay.
So the first apartment I shared with one of my friends who moved here before me, so small, was not enough for two adults. But
how big was it, if you remember?
35 square meters.
35 square meters for two.
It was bad.
Two friends.
But it was bad, but it was fun. It's a segment of my stay here in Barcelona that's very solidified. And then the next apartment, we got a big, nice 70 square meter apartment.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was a whole different vibe. We could have people over in another way. We had an elevator.
Wow.
The first apartment was probably 7 stories or 6 stories up. We had to climb the stairs. Horrible. So I don't miss climbing stairs. Yeah.
Wow. And was it easy to rent an apartment, to talk to the landlords in here? Because since you don't speak local language fluently, was it very complicated to find and to gain trustworthy relationship between tenants and landlords?
No.
Considering you're foreigners and students as well, without stable financial support?
It sucks. In Barcelona, the housing is super in demand. So the people renting out apartments have a lot of potential customers to choose from.
Yeah.
So they don't choose foreign students. Even though, as a Swedish student, we have CSN and guaranteed income, so therefore we can guarantee that we can pay for the apartment. But that didn't matter. It's a hassle. It's hard. You can go through agencies that will help you, but it's much more expensive. You trade comfort for the higher price and convenience. So it's a mess. try do that before you go to Barcelona. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
What was one of your biggest like disappointments after you moved here, except for the apartment search and how complicated it turned out to be? What was the other things that you would expect to be different or easier or better done in Spain or general here in the local culture, but it just turned out to be disappointing?
I mean, the food here is very different from Sweden. In Sweden, we have a lot of great like milk, butter, cheese, dairy products. It sucks in Spain. Horrible, in my opinion.
Spaniards would not agree with you right
yeah,
now.
no, I might
No,
offend a lot of people.
they'll feel that this is insulting.
Yeah, but I could say I'm not used to some of the food products here in Spain. So that was hard to adapt to, but once I've adapted, I kind of know how to get by. But that was a big initial thing for me, walking around in stores having no idea about what I should buy.
Wow. Do you miss something from hometown, from Sweden? Do you miss, like, except for the food, something or someone?
I mean, I've never lived in a big city before I moved here. I lived in the Swedish archipelago, the west coast, amazing place. It's very beautiful, very calm, very soothing to the soul. You know, you can relax in another way. Here is always something happening.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sounds
It's a big
everywhere.
international city.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You have something to do every day, but I don't want to do something every day, and then it's hard to like escape from that buzz, that metropole, you know. But it's I've gotten used to it, and you can find some nice peaceful places in Barcelona to kind of relax or get away from it. But that's probably the biggest factor, the sound.
Yeah. What's your favorite place in Barcelona? The thing, like the place, or the park or location that you'll go whenever you feel lost or sad. It just brings you.
I really
vibe.
like the spa in my gym.
Okay.
I like the sauna, but there are nice parks in Barcelona. Tibidabo, Montjuic, Montserrat. It's a train ride away, but it's really nice. But I like the small local bars too. Just sit down, have a beer, talk to friends. There are endless amounts of those small, undiscovered places. It feels like you discover something when you get there. It's super fun.
That's interesting. Yeah, considering how much the prices vary from prices and alcohol, vary from Swedish ones, because I know that in Sweden it's way more expensive to drink. I don't know, even a glass of wine. I'm not even talking a bottle of wine in the restaurant, in a bar. Was it a big surprise here for you when you got here, when you just looked at the menu and like, this cannot be that cheap?
It shouldn't have been a surprise because I know it's cheap here, but every time I see the price, I am surprised.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
In a positive way, because if I go out for some beers with some classmates in Sweden, that would be one beer, probably €9, you know, upwards of 11 sometimes.
Oh wow.
For a small Heineken. Here you can get a beer for €2.50, half a liter. So it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's totally different, and it gives some sort of freedom to like not really think about, oh, can I afford to go out and see my classmates and have a couple of beers tonight? Because you can here. It's not expensive, so it lowers the barrier of entry to social gatherings as well. Because if we go out for a brunch or for eating dinner with classmates or friends, you know, there's no financial pressure as there is in Sweden to do some of this stuff, because it's just so much more expensive, you know.
Wow. What else was surprising for you when you moved here? Except for the prices on alcohol and the apartment search, was there something that blew your mind, or?
The public transport. It's really good here. Really good. I mean, Sweden is non-existent where I live. I live outside of the city areas. When I first moved here, or before I moved here, I actually had plans of buying like a scooter or something. But I realized that's totally obsolete because the public transport, it's great.
Wow. Okay. And you mentioned social life and like going with your friends to a bar. Is it easy here to make new friends? Because you moved here when you already had some people who you knew from before, and I'm sure that you met some other people in the university, despite some maybe age gap. And is it easy for the European student here to make new friends?
I mean, I don't have many local friends, many Spanish friends per se. But through school, I mean, you have a whole network of people to talk to and to engage with. If I wasn't in university, I mean, you can sign up for some sports activities and find people through there, or go to bars and talk to people. I don't think it's impossible, but through university, it's for sure possible to find some sort of social network here.
Wow. But would you say people who move here and locals, very like friendly and open-minded and welcoming to meet and just start talking and becoming friends with other nationalities?
Maybe, yes and no. I've had some really fun experiences with locals. The language barrier is always there in those cases, in my experience. But also they can be a bit, I mean, we live in Catalonia. Like it's the Catalan people are a bit more off.
Protecting their barriers, let's say.
Yeah, but the local people are nice. Like they aren't hostile, I would say, but they can be a bit reserved.
Okay. Is it very different from your culture, from Swedish people?
Yeah,
It is?
Swedish people are very reserved.
Very reserved.
Very reserved. So yeah, that's very true. Comparing to Sweden, it's much more open-minded here. Much more open-minded.
Was it very strange and like weird when you moved here and people are so open-minded and welcoming,
A
and
bit.
you come from a little closed culture?
A bit. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice change. I'm probably not a very reserved Swedish person.
Yeah.
So it was a change of pace, change of heart that I enjoyed.
What else changed in your life that you enjoy, or maybe you don't enjoy? That's something that you liked before more.
I mean, it's of course moving 3.5 hours flight time from my home is of course a barrier to talk to family and friends in Sweden, but that was expected. So the changes, I mean, everyday lifestyle, economic wise, changes when you become a student. I lived a very comfortable life before. I do now as well, but I kind of have to think a bit more about economy. But that's planned. That's something you know. If you don't, you should know that before you move. You know. But changes otherwise, I don't know. The weather here in Spain is changing how I feel a lot. In Sweden, I mean, it's much darker. There's less hours of sunlight. That was a huge difference. It's very common for Swedish people to be depressed for seemingly no reason, but the lack of light, I think, has a big part of it. And here it's just so much better weather. It's enjoyable to go outside in February, you know, or March. It's totally different way of living, you know.
Do you travel often to visit your family?
Somewhat.
There is a not a mindset, but it's like an idea when you relocate to another country, every vacation or every days off that you have, you go and you travel your family and you travel basically your previous place where you used to live. Is it the same for you as well?
I mean, I travel a lot to Sweden, but I have traveled to some other places than home, per se. I enjoy traveling, but now when I'm a student, I kind of put the travels on pause a bit, you know. But yeah, it's...
Was there anything else that you had to, let's say, put on pause, as you mentioned,
a lot
when
of things.
becoming student and maybe when moving to, like, changing the climate completely, changing the culture? Was there anything that you had to get rid of?
A lot of things. I mean, I have good relations with my friends in Sweden, but of course it's different. Before moving here, was looking at some apartments in Sweden to buy, but of course that's on pause as well. I want to build a house, that's also on pause. I looked at buying a car before I moved here, that's no point in doing. But most of the things I put on hold now are for financial reasons, I feel like.
What do you do here in Barcelona? Like, it seems that you had such a active lifestyle living back in Sweden. Do you have the same, say, regime here, living in a different country, or did you change it? What changed in your style? What changed in you, in your day-to-day routine?
I don't think that much. I just traded work for school. In Sweden, I had the possibility to work a lot with my hands. Work with. I love woodworking, making lamps, tables, boats. That's hard to do in a small apartment in Barcelona. So that's completely changed, and I think that's really unfortunate because I really, really enjoy creating and creativity. But I also create music, play guitar, sing, produce, and I have a computer here, so I can do that, part of the creative stuff. Then, I changed work with school, basically.
It is good that you managed to keep up with this routine, and you kept yourself busy, and that, I think, also helped you to integrate into the local society and integrate to the culture here, to how life is different here. So it sort of stopped you and helped you not to go into this depression as some other expats and relocants face.
I mean, I think it's important to keep or to bring a part of yourself that you can maybe share with others, tell them this is who I am, this is what I do, but also it's important to adapt to the new culture, a new mindset, a new people in the new place you move to. So I think it's important to have a mix of both. And I think most or almost everyone I've met do that. Bring a part of themselves, even if it's small, some sort of photo, picture, memory, or some cuisine I haven't tried. I tried so many interesting foods, drinks, beverages from different places that people I meet are excited to give me. And they say, what do you think about this? You know, for example, me, I have the Swedish licorice with me, and it's not very popular amongst any other people except for maybe Swedish, Norway, and Finnish people.
Hold on a second. Explain, sorry for interrupting, but explain what licorice means for people who are completely different from your culture.
Yeah, so candy is usually sweet. Licorice is this black candy that's very, very, very salty and almost savory. In a way.
Okay.
And it's super, super strange for people that haven't tried it to try it. I really love it, and I try to see if other people like it, but they usually don't.
I must say that I've tried it, and I would say that I did not like it at all, because I'm one of these people who's used to eating candies and them being sweet, like the gummy bears and everything, Haribo. but this candy that
It's amazing.
Nordic people bring into here, I don't know. I don't approve it because
amazing.
for me it is very, very strange. And I like when I just tried a bite, I couldn't even finish it because the flavor is just it's totally off for me.
It's an acquired flavor. It's different.
But you coming from this different Nordic countries, is the Spanish cuisine completely different for you? Do you like it? Like, is there something that's also off for you in Spanish cuisine?
So in Sweden, we talked about we're a bit more reserved, and that's reflective in when we eat. We have our own plate. Here in Spain, they have tapas. Everyone takes from
Shares,
all of
yes.
the plates, and that's a bit weird to me. I kind of like it, but it's very different. Spanish food is good. They have a lot of cool stuff. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat or fish, and they have a lot of jamon, a lot of seafood here that I haven't tried. I haven't been into, so I'm probably missing out on the best Spanish food. But the other Spanish food is decent. It's
Okay. Have you thought of changing your food habits as well when you moved here? Well, you said that Swedish milk products and all the dairy products, they're way nicer, and you don't eat seafood and meat because you're vegetarian. But have you thought of changing your food habits when you moved here? No? You tried to keep the same part of you that wasn't...
Yeah, I mean, in Sweden we have a lot of good alternatives for meat. Here they have some. It's not as good, but I mean, you survive. I mean, it's not bad. It's just different, you know. So it's a learning curve that you get used to it.
Okay. Some people, when they move to another country, they sort of burn all the bridges from the previous place they used to live. So they cut down all the connections, all the stuff they used to do, because in their mind and following their opinion, this motivates you and pushes you to adapt to the place you're moving into, because you practically have nothing to go back to return. Do you think this is correct, or would you follow this idea?
I mean, I have absolutely not severed any connections. They might not be as solid as before because of the lack of seeing each other, but no, not at all. I keep all of my connections and friends from private or work as to the best of my ability. So that's something I cherish and I would not want to get rid of. But I also understand if you move someplace else, it might be because of different reasons. Some people might run away from something or run towards something, and I'm neither of those. I think I just wanted a change of scenery. Coming from another European country, moving to another European country, it's also very simple. It's very easy in that sense. I can go home whenever I want. I don't have to think about visa problems here. It's very simple, and I'm very grateful for that because it allows me to do this kind of dual life, but it works.
That's awesome. It seems to me that you created this balance between two countries you've lived in Spain and Sweden, and you have some friends, some family, like your previous, let's say, world still in there waiting for you, and you have built your new life in here. Considering all that, what would you want to do in the future? Would you want to go back to things that are still waiting for you and have been waiting for you while you were here? Or would you want to keep building your life in this new place? Or maybe you want to move somewhere else? considering that you already have experience of living in another country, away from your hometown. What's your plan for the future?
I like experiencing new things. I like testing my limits and abilities, and moving somewhere is a good way of doing that. Studying something is a good way of doing that. Learning a new language, learning how to make new food. So I really enjoy building upon myself, but I really enjoy Sweden, the west coast, the archipelago, the ocean. So in the future, I want to be able to live in Sweden on the summers when it's actually nice in Sweden.
Enjoy the weather.
Yeah, Swedish people will know slask. It's a lot of slask, like snow mixed with water. It's just not...
The mud, yeah.
I don't like slask, so I don't want to be in the slask season in Sweden. But it's basically a couple of months in the summer. It's really, really, really nice. So I want to have a small house in Sweden that I can enjoy in the summers with my friends there. And then I want to have something I can return to. Probably in Spain, probably in Barcelona. Who knows?
That's a great idea. I wish you luck to make it all happen and to enjoy this lifestyle in the future. If any of your previous friends from work or from life in Sweden decide to move to Spain or to Barcelona in particular, would you recommend them doing this, considering your experience? And if so, what would you advise them to do while they're still in the process, based on your life, maybe on your mistakes?
There are few people I would not recommend doing this to.
Why?
Swedish people, they have a lot of self-imposed problems and issues that it's not a problem, it's not an issue. It's just that life in Sweden is too simple, too good. So they don't have a reference point as to compare what they have with what could be a much worse position in life. So challenging that mentality is so important and will make you grow as a human being, will make you appreciate what you have. And I think that is very, very rare in Sweden, unfortunately. I struggle with that when I go back to Sweden now and I see people, they have an amazing life and they just complain. Oh my God, I get so tired of that. So you grow as a person, experiencing new things. And from just talking to people in my school, I enjoy and I'm appreciative of what I have.
Nice.
1,000%, yeah.
This is very, very cool that you're sharing this knowledge and comparing cultures and your two societies that you live right now and used to live. Very, very useful of you to say that and to mention that. If someone asks you to tell one crazy story that happened to you in Barcelona, which story would you tell? Which experience that seemed very, very different and very, very weird to you? Except for the apartment search and lack of good dairy products in here. What's the other things that you can recall in your head? Some stories that you would probably not imagine happening to you in Sweden.
I mean, you can't live in Barcelona without noticing it's pretty common for people to get robbed, like pickpocketed.
Okay, yes, this is true.
Yeah. That might happen in Sweden, but not at the same frequency, especially not where I come from. Okay. But I know my old roommate, he got robbed twice here in Barcelona.
Wow.
And I don't want to paint Barcelona in a bad picture. I've never seen anything like that. It hasn't happened to me, but it does happen, unfortunately, sometimes. That was a bit of a shock to me. I mean, I come from a super safe place, super chill place. So that was very new. But I mean, there are so many cool things that we've done, like so many cool nights with my friends. We've gone to clubs, places where we know the people who work there. It's an amazing time. Traveling around Barcelona is a lot of fun. But I think the biggest unexpected thing or surprise for me was how little I went to the beach here in Barcelona.
Yeah, living literally so close to the sea.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be there like every day. I really like swimming, I really like the ocean. But I just don't go there as much as I thought I would. I mean, there is a lot of tourists there, it's a crowded place. But
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the mistake you think you've done while moving here or living here that you would try to avoid if you move somewhere else? So if someone would be to move here, you would tell them that I've done this and that's totally a mistake.
I mean, I would like to have the freedom that a car brings. I know I wouldn't use the car in the city, but traveling outside of Barcelona, visiting different places, it's much harder to do without a car. Coming from Sweden, you have to have a car. So it's not a mistake. It's more of a luxury. I wish I had the ability to utilize.
Yeah. I think it's so far just a missed opportunity, but you can still fix it and change it in the future.
Yeah.
And on the opposite, the contrary, what is something that you did while preparing for moving here that you're endlessly grateful to yourself? Maybe something that you've done here when you moved and you realize that I am very good just because I did that.
I mean, I have to be. I am so grateful that I had friends who moved here earlier, but that's a very niche spot that I am in. Not everyone will have acquaintances who moved to the city they're gonna move to before they did. But that has been so nice. Like they had some friend circles that I kind of fitted into when I came here. They knew where to go, where not to go. So that was just such a different experience, I assume, based on other people's stories. So that I'm grateful for. Yeah.
Okay. Considering everything that we've talked about and almost 3 years of you living here, away from your hometown, based on all that and taking it into account, would you have taken the same decision moving here if we would go back 3 years right now?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Would it be a definite yes?
Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just to finish it up, can you summarize into one word that you would describe the city you live in right now? Only one word you can use. It can be anything, adjective, noun, anything you like, even if it's the verb.
There's a good Swedish word that's untranslatable. That's called lagom.
Okay.
And this word means like basically not too much, not too little. Not too crazy, not too chill. It's
something that's enough.
It's more than enough, but it's a vibe. It's perfectly balanced. I feel like in most cases. Yeah, lagom.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Backstage. And it was very, very nice. What do you think? What do you think? Good?
Lagom.
Lagom? Okay. Nice.
That was good, I think.
Well,
I don't know who wants to listen to my stories, but
I want to listen to your stories. I don't know who wants to listen to my questions. Well, that was good. What do you think?
I think it was great and very interesting.
Yay!